students, let's talk about sorting objects in this video. The previous two videos we've discussed selection sort in detail using arrays that contain integer data elements. So in this video we would like to discuss the sorting of objects using the selection sort method. So the first thing is when you compare objects, you need to know which element of the object must be used for the comparison when you need to do a sorted list. In this example, you have objects that contain name, student number, and a mark. So the assignment is saying sort the list according to marks in ascending order. So now you know you have to compare the marks of the different objects. So if you look at your sorting method that we've discussed before as well, you have the similar setup, your outer loop, which we control with the variable k. So k is 0 at the moment. Then we have the statement minimum equals k. So k starts with the same value, minimum starts with the same value as k. The inner loop will step through the elements and identify the smallest element in the list. That's the work of the inner loop. Identify the smallest element in the unsorted part of the list. At the moment, the entire list is unsorted. It will start at position k plus 1. K is 0 at the moment, so k plus 1 is 1. So j has the value of 1 for the first iteration of the inner loop. The if statement is where we have to make an adjustment from the previous examples, because now we have to say if array students position j, which is number 1, Sue, dot get mark. So we look at the 56 now, is less than array student position minimum, which is 0, Emma, dot get mark 78. So is 56 less than 78? The answer is yes, and therefore minimum must get the value of j. So minimum at the moment is 1 because that's the first value of j for the first iteration of the inner loop. So the for loop will go back, j will become 2. It will say is whatever is in position j dot get mark 70 less than whatever is in minimum position, which is 1 now, dot get mark. So is 70 less than 56? Answer is no. So min equals j will be skipped, it will not be executed, and j will now become 3. The if will say if student j, position j dot get mark, which is 45, is less than array student position minimum, which is at the moment 1. In other words, 56 is the mark, dot get mark. So if is 45 less than 56? Yes, it is. So minimum must get the value of j, which is 3. So j will go back and it will become 4. Remember, the inner loop will always go up to the last element. So 4, so is array student j, which is 4, dot get mark 57, less than array students minimum, which is 3, 45. So is 57 less than 45? No, it's not less. So the inner loop is done. It's completed a cycle. Below the inner loop, if minimum, which is 3 at the moment, is not the same as its starting value of 0. If it's not the same, it means a swap must be done. A smaller value was found, so swap the smaller value, assign the smaller value in position 3 to your temporary variable. Now here you must remember the rule. Your temporary variable must also always be the same data type as your array. This is because you need to put the entire object in temp. You can't just put the mark, which is an integer or any specific item, in temp. You have to swap the entire object and not a specific part of the object. That's why temp must be studentable. You assign the minimum value of John to the temporary variable. Then you assign K, which is 0, to your minimum position. So Emma goes to John. That's 0. Will go. So Emma will sit here now. And the last statement is whatever you put aside in temp, which is John, must go into position K, which is 0. So after the swap, John will be in position 0 because it has the lowest mark, and Emma will now sit in position 3 in the array. So this process will continue until all the marks will be listed in an ascending order from the smallest mark up to the highest mark, lowest up to highest. So that's quite easy. The only difference is your get mark that must be used in the comparison statement. Also, remember to swap the entire object in the swap part of the code. Then the other problem is, what if you have to sort the list according to names? Names are string data types. So a string data type is a complex data type, not a primitive data type such as marks. So for a complex data type, string for instance, you use the compare to method. So again, the structure of the code will stay the same. Your outer loop starts at 0. Minimum is assigned K, which is 0 as well. The inner loop starts at K plus 1, which is 1. So we have the same setup up until there. But with the if statement, we don't want to compare the marks. We want to compare the names. So we say, from array students minimum, which is 0, dot get name. So now we're looking at Emma. If that compare to from array students position J, which is 1, dot get name, so we're looking at Sue, is greater than 0. So what does that mean? What happens here is that the ASCII values of the characters of the letters that make up the names will be compared. There will be a subtraction of those values, and the difference can either be a positive or a negative number or 0. If it's 0, it means it's exactly the same names that you are comparing. If it's greater than 0, it means that the name is that the second name, J, is less than the first name in the statement, the minimum name. If it's in this setup, if it's less than 0, then it means minimum is less than J in the list. So let's look at the specific example. We've got Emma now, and we need to compare Emma with Sue. So what happens is it will go and look up the ASCII value for E, which is 69. Then that's the first one that was mentioned. Then it'll go and look up the ASCII value of the name in position J, which is S. The ASCII value of S is 83. So it will say 69 minus 83 will give you a negative value of minus 14. It's not greater than 0. The difference is not positive. It's not greater than 0. It's less than 0. Therefore, the J position is not the smaller one of the two. The minimum name is the smaller one of the two. So minimum will not be assigned J because J does not contain a smaller alphabetical word as minimum at the moment. Then, so it will J will continue the inner loop and go to the next value, which is 2. The compare to, it will say, take the first character, get name, look at the E of Emma, which is 69. Go and look at the ASCII value of Abby. A is 65. So 69 minus 65 will give you 4, a positive value. It's a greater than 0 result, so it means J contains the smallest alphabetical word. So minimum will now be changed to the value of J, which is 2. Then J will continue. It will go and see, okay, John. It will compare the ASCII value of J to the ASCII value, not compare, actually subtract J from 65. Now let's go and look up and see what is the ASCII value of J. This is from your prescribed textbook, page 1290. Let's quickly, this is the ASCII table. We're looking for J there. So it's 70. If you look there, 74. J, the ASCII value of J is 74. As you can see, the ASCII value of capital A is 65. Small letter values A will be 97, and so on. So we're working with A. We're comparing or subtracting J from A, which will give us a negative value, 65, and you subtract 74. So it will give you negative 9. So it means that it's a negative value, so John is alphabetically not smaller than Abby. So minimum will stay at 2. The next time, the same procedure, ASCII value of G will be compared to A, again a negative value because it's alphabetically bigger, and no, the minimum will not get a new value. So it means element 2 was identified as the smallest alphabetical name using the ASCII values. So when we move on to the next statement, it will say minimum is no longer 0, it has changed to 2. That means there must be a swap, and the swap statement works the same as our previous example with the marks. So the difference here is the if statement. You must be very accurate when you use this if statement. You must have the minimum index first and then the J index when you do the compare to. Remember, there's a dot. It's array student square brackets minimum dot get name dot compare to brackets array student J dot get name greater than 0. This will sort your list from A to Z. If you want the list to be sorted from Z to A, the greater than 0 will change to less than 0. You're working with your negative results of the subtraction of values. If you keep this statement as it is, and you put the minimum in the J position and the J in the minimum position, you will also end up sorting from Z to A. So be careful not to swap things around as you wish. There's a specific order here. You have to stick to that order. First minimum, then J, greater than 0 will give you an alphabetical from A to Z result. The explanation is on page 9 and 10, the rest of the document. Please read that to get a better understanding. It boils down to what I've explained just now. So do yourself a favor and just read it. So good luck with your assignment. The assignment is based on this code. So use this video to understand what you need to do for Friday's assignment. Good luck.